Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Michelle, how's it going?
Awesome. So good to see you. It's so awesome to get to interview a classmate from high school. It's crazy.
It is. It is. But I see you every now and then. I
I
see you every
know.
now and then. It's good to it's good to see you kind of different places. But yeah, yeah, I love keeping touch of base kind of with all the folks that we grew up with. So
It is awesome. It is awesome. So we might see some of them tonight in our interview time together. But
look forward to it.
I just wanted to say thank you for saying yes to joining me on Michelle's Conversations That Matter. I really appreciate it. I was triggered. I was really intrigued rather by your post, your recent birthday
Mhm.
post, because
Yeah,
we know a lot about our friends, that whatever we see on social media, but we really don't know what they're dealing with. And you had been going through some stuff, and
yeah,
when I read it, I just thought, wow, this is the definition of it, overcoming adversity and resiliency. And I thought, what a great opportunity to bring you on. But for those people who didn't graduate Westfield High School class of 1990, can you introduce yourself, who you are, where
sure,
you live, and what you do?
sure. My name is Ryan Manville. Like Michelle said, I grew up in Westfield, New Jersey, class of 1990, which is crazy. We missed our 30-year reunion. We'll do it, here soon. Um, Currently, I live in Scotch Plains. I've been in Scotch Plains since 2001, so 20 years now. After serving 7 years in the Navy.
Mm.
First, my family, been married for coming up on 26 years. Have a daughter in college, going to Lehigh, and a son that's a senior at Scotch Plains High School. So we're still waiting where he'll go to college. Um, and then professionally, I own three businesses, three day spas, one in Bridgewater, New Jersey, one in Clark, New Jersey, and one in Nashville, Tennessee. They're called Spavia. And also, I have a 9 to 5 job where I'm a director at Data Robot. Essentially, we're a artificial intelligence software firm. I've been around for about 10 years, and we may be going public this year. So we're really looking forward, to that for a variety of reasons. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
Um, I just turned 49 a couple weeks ago, and I guess that's what. And I guess it's not. It's right on the cusp there of
Yeah,
50,
I
which is
know.
crazy, which
Isn't
which
it?
is crazy. But it's been a good ride thus far, and I'm looking forward to the next 49 years. So
Awesome. Awesome. So I just want to invite people, if they're here, if you're joining, feel free to pop in and add a comment, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Um, so it was your birthday post that really sort of got me. It was you talking about what it was like to be a small business owner during COVID,
hmm
and the
hmm
challenges and the obstacles and the things that you navigated. I would love for you to sort of share with the audience what you shared in that post and give us,
sure.
the lay of what you experienced.
Well, so last year on March 16th, I was blowing out the candles of my birthday cake, but all around me, everything was just falling apart. I After a couple of years in Bridgewater, we had to close. We were forced to close from the governor, and we had no idea when we were going to reopen. And close to 20 people I had to lay off just right there. Additionally, in my second location, which we just started to build the month before, um, very shortly we had to shut down construction for that. My kids, like everyone's kids, were taken out of their normal school environment, placed into a virtual area. Um, I I have invested in the stock market for many years. I lost half of my net worth in just a matter of weeks. In the company in which I had joined, unfortunately, we had to lay off about 30% of the people, hundreds of people. and the people that were lucky enough to stick around had pay cuts of 30%. So all the and I had no idea whether even that was going to continue. So I always prided myself of, doing the right things, putting my family kind of in the right kind of financial position. And I was really looking into the depths. And I'm like, wow, if this continues, we may not get through it. And it was very, very scary, and so much kind of out of my control. You're literally isolated in your home. You have your family, which I'm very, very thankful for, and friends that you could talk to on the phone or text or whatever. But just everything was crashing down, and there was no good news in sight.
Right.
So that's where I was in March of 2020. A pretty dark place, actually. Pretty dark place. Lost a ton of sleep. I probably wasn't the most pleasant person to be around, but yeah, I couldn't imagine how to get out. So that's where I was in March of 2020.
And then, so then you shared in that post that like things turned around. You were able to sort of make lemonade out of lemons, and so take us through that experience.
So I took stock of where I was exactly 1 year later, kind of from that photo. My businesses have rebounded. I'm surpassed the pre-pandemic levels in Bridgewater. Spavia Clark Commons continues to be a success. We're adding, more and more, like it's getting busier with every single week. And then also, I purchased a spa, a similar concept in Nashville, Tennessee. So I went from, and that's doing fabulously well as well. We've really turned that around, and that ton of pride. My wife and all my kids are actually very involved, kind of within the spas as well. My daughter went out to Nashville this winter to kind of help us out with it. And it's been a tremendous kind of success around that. The stock market, I think we all know that has rebounded, and that's at all-time highs. My kids are just getting back to school, which is great. And my company has really turned around. We raised close to $300 million in this last funding round, and we're valued at $3 billion. So I think we're in a very well positioned kind of from there. So the from to has just been incredible, and with the weather getting nicer, it put me in such a great mood to where I was just 12 months ago to today. It's like, now things aren't over, and I know that people are still struggling.
Yeah.
And I know that, some people have lost a lot of folks, loved ones, through COVID. Some they're still feeling the effects of previous sicknesses. But I myself, I'm getting the vaccine, the first shot this Thursday. I know a ton of people that have gotten it, and I think that for those that want it, within the next few weeks, most people will be able to get it. So it's crazy when you kind of think about the changes that we've gone through, but it wasn't a smooth road, in those past 12 months.
Before we went live, we were talking about resilience, and you said it was truly a test of resilience, and the fact that you thought you were resilient, and then all of this happened, and you were like,
I mean, from a physical perspective, I've always tried to stay relatively healthy, eat the right foods, get sleep, exercise, and things like that. And I found that difficult. Kind of during that time. Financially, like I said before, having multiple income streams, I'm always a big proponent kind of that, because you never know, right? Yeah. I've been in the corporate world long enough to where, hey, I've been laid off, right? And I think, it happens. And then just lastly, is around relationships, and how do you keep those strong? And I think that's what a lot of us, we don't we don't take an active role kind of within that. We may actively manage our career, we may actively manage our finances or businesses, but I think when it comes down to it, it was just the relationships that I had primarily kind of with my immediate family, but also with extended family and friends, that helped.
Yeah.
Because it was like April, May of last year, and people just remarked. They said, "Gosh, right, something's really going, really going on." And so yeah, but you need that. I thought I was resilient. I thought I was going into it. I've seen. I've been in the Navy. I was a submarine officer. I've served some of the greatest companies kind of out there, but it didn't prepare me kind of for this, or maybe it did. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I want to first acknowledge you and thank you for your service to our country.
Well, thank you.
But the other thing that you said in your post that really resonated, you said life is not always easy, even when things look very dark. Have the confidence that things are going to get better.
Yeah.
Was that a message to yourself a few months ago, or is that your message to people who might be struggling?
I think it's both. I think it's both. If you have your health, and you have your family, there's just so much that you can that's kind of like really what all you need. And some people don't have their health, and it may be a little bit difficult, but even if you have that, I think that you have to be thankful for what you have, and you'll get through it. You'll get through it. You'll get through it. And I think you just have to repeat that. And one thing that I always kind of repeated to myself is that with every day that passes, we're just closer kind of to the end of this trial.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know when it's going to end, but I do know that at least it's tomorrow. We're going to be further past it than today.
It's so true.
Further past it. And then when you kind of look at it, you spin it that way, you're like, wow, I mean, things are going to get better.
They are.
And you're going to go through ups and downs in life. Everybody does. But this was just such an external shock that I don't think that anybody has really been around kind of for something like this. Probably the most comparable kind of time was probably World War II. Maybe the Vietnam War, but we were very, very young, when that was kind of wrapping up. So in my adult life, I never experienced anything like this. No. And it was communal, and there were so many people that were going through it all at once.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I want to acknowledge Maria Pafumi is here. She wants to say hello. Say hello to her. Thanks for joining us, Maria. It's always good to see a Pafumi in the house.
Yeah. Hope John's doing okay.
I know, right? Our classmate. So what do you think you learned the most about yourself over the past year?
I would say that you can't always do it by yourself. And when you need help, you have to ask for it, Yeah. And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if it's just society, but it's hard to do that, especially kind of as a middle-aged guy, right? 48, to kind of ask for that. And I don't think that you should, it's tough. It's really, really, really hard. Yeah. And so I think that that's one thing that and if I'm going through, there'll be other challenging times, and I'll just kind of put that out there.
Yeah. For
folks and family members and friends, and say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm going through.
Right.
And I think that that's what I kind of learned, number one. Number two is that you can't, as I said before, if you have your health, you have your family, like everything else is kind of gravy, what I'm saying? I mean, if you have that core, you can actually get through a whole ton of stuff. And my hope is that we don't have to go through another pandemic. My hope is we don't have to go through another, weird long-term kind of thing, like we just went through the past 12 months, which is crazy, like 12 months.
I know.
And, I remember like in 10 years ago in Hurricane Sandy, I was like, oh yeah, that was bad. We didn't have power for 2 weeks or whatever. And yet, and you kind of put things in perspective.
Yeah.
And, so I think, hopefully this is like one of the more challenging things that we'd ever have to do.
Any words of advice, Ryan, for small business owners? Before we went live, we were talking about, you have had a success story, but there's a lot of small business owners who've just been trying to keep it together. I mean, do you have any words of wisdom for them?
I love talking to other small business owners kind of on their trials and tribulations, either getting involved with the local chamber of commerce, or the business I have is franchise, so I can talk to other franchisees kind of across the country, and even here in New Jersey, there's 5 of us that are here. So we were doing a lot of Zoom calls and what do we do and how do we kind of navigate kind of through those. And again, that's a part of your extended network that I think that you need to leverage.
Yeah.
And because they're going through a lot of, very, very similar, very similar things. And we had to change and we had to adapt, very quickly. And, I think that although we were very affected kind of, through COVID, there were other industries that I can't imagine what they were going through, particularly in restaurants and other industries like that. But my working kind of with my landlords, working with my bank, working kind of getting through and trying to get relief where we can. That really helped us. That really helped as well.
And, I guess it would be mindset too. I think about your mindset, and it's very easy, I guess, in those darker moments, to not be able to see the hope. And I guess that's sort of where you're saying lean on people, have the courage to ask for support, and, keep your head straight, right?
And one of the things that I never really did as much is I took a lot of daily walks. And even in April, hopefully you won't arrest me, but I did walk into Marquis Park, New Jersey a couple of times. I was the only person. It was closed. Right, Bobby. I said, hey, you know what? I think there's very little risk of walking around outside. Yeah. But in doing that, and just being outside in the sunshine and in the air, it clears your thoughts. Yeah. And you start to come up with solutions, whether it's your business or personal. And, I know that people can find that in different ways. Some people meditate, some people do other types of yoga or exercise or anything like that. But to me, that was something that I thought was very, very important, kind of having that calm, not always on my phone, right. And just the act of kind of going for a walk. And it's not super strenuous physically, but it just I solved a lot of issues just by doing that.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, any final words of thought or wisdom that you would like to share? I'm so grateful that you gave us some of your time tonight. Thank you.
I would say for folks that are going through challenging situations, just please reach out to your family and friends. They're there for you. They want to help. I had people reach out to me, that were going through challenging times as well, and spent a lot of time on the phone with them. In most cases you really couldn't, be there kind of face to face. And then, also it's weird. I think that sometime in the future, we'll almost romanticize the times in which I had my kids back, kind of, staying at home for months and months and months.
Right.
I didn't have to travel and commute kind of as much, and
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time here, and so even in like really really challenging times, there will be things that you learn about yourself and others
Yeah.
that I think that you'll carry on for the rest of your life. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You'll get through it, and you'll be a better person afterwards.
I have a really interesting memory. In the beginning of the pandemic, it was spring, like you were saying, in April. And I remember, we live in a town, well, I live in Westfield. We live in a town where landscapers do all the work, right?
Yeah.
You rarely see families out in their yards, like planting flowers, but I'll never forget this. I was running down East Broad Street and I noticed full families planting flowers in their flower beds. Like, I was like, well, this probably would not have been a reality because everyone would have been overscheduled. Parents would have been traveling, and the landscapers would have come and made a beautiful flower garden and left. But you were seeing these things where families were coming together, and it was pretty much a miracle, I thought.
Yeah, you're doing things that you hadn't done in a long time. We played a lot of board games, kind of Monopoly and everything like that. And then we did some new things too. Like we got, my wife got, she cut my hair because my hair was getting a little out of control after like a few months. And we went outside and and then she cut my son's hair. And I mean, those are just like little like memories, I think,
you'll never forget.
That you won't forget.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of, although it's been challenging, a lot of good over the past year has kind of come about as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your story and your, just being an example that resilience is possible for small business owners. So it's really great to have had you here.
Well, thanks, Michelle, and hopefully we can celebrate the 31st reunion kind of.
Or we can grab Terry Hickey and meet at Darby Road.
That'd be great. Well, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.